Trick 1. Init patch, arpeggio, hold, random. And now it's made all of those 16 notes a sequence. If you are to scrub through it, so you've made a random arpeggio into a sequence. So if there was anything random that you liked, you now are able to edit it, loop it, and such. Trick 2. The next one is unison mode shortcut. So from what I've seen, back to internet, every time someone wants to make this unison, they are doing this. And then when they want to edit, they would go like this. And that's a bit of a gymnast's way of going about things. I would have thought a better way to do it is possibly, let's take that off. You've got it on there, go into utilities. It's far easier to get it where you want it. Okay, trick 3 isn't really a trick, but it's just something that I've noticed that sounds quite good. I haven't seen anyone else talk about it. If we go on to chords, everyone knows that, so let's get something a bit nice. That's okay. And then if you was to now put unison mode on, much better. So I think that this oscillator was a little bit weak before, but now with unison mode, it really opens it up. Okay, so the next trick has to do with polyphony on your arpeggios at the moment, because it doesn't work with the sequence of the spread. So if you still wanted to have spread on a sequence, because and at the same time you wanted to have some of the notes carry over into the next note, you'd need to put the voice count down to 2. And then if I was to play an arpeggio now, so if I carry this over, you can hear the notes overlapping, but we've still got spread. But if we're to go to unison count 4, it sounds more monophonic, but it is technically. So we've still got the notes carrying over each other, but technically we've chorded them a little bit. So we get to retain the release. And adjust to your taste. The next thing I've noticed is that the new oscillator types, the last 3, apart from the vocoder at the end, they all seem to be able to be modulated without a click. So if we was to go to harm and we switch onto Saux and bass, I'm I'm sure there is a little click, but it doesn't seem as audible as the rest of them. So if you try to modulate that, what we doing, type. Yep. And then we'll put that onto an LFO. Then you can put units on that, and again if you go into a preset, now you don't have to do the handstands. The next one is a trick that I've learnt from the Behringer Craves that I've been using. They're really good. They've started, well, they're what got me back into hardware stuff, if I'm honest. For the price that they are, I'm amazed that they do what they do. Excuse the rubbish tripod here. The next one, yep, is random envelope length and filter. Right, so the Craves, what they do is they've got a random voltage that's sent out of the assign out, and then you can just patch that into whatever you want to randomly change. And then you could even put it through a mixer to either slow that down or say limit the range of it, is a better way of saying it. On the Micro Freak, you do have random LFO, and you even have a smoother version of it as well, the second one. So because the Micro Freak has a modulation matrix, you can essentially do what you can do on the Craves. So again, if we go to a new sound and we find a sequence, actually we'll find a sequence that I've got here. It saves me doing one. Do for now. Okay. Right, so we just set LFO and we'll set it to the cutoff. Put it on 16th because the notes are on 16th. So again, this on a modulation matrix we can take to the point where we want it. Essentially the same as the Crave. Just without the patch cables. Okay, so we've got that set now. Cutoff's quite nice. And let's do the envelope of the same thing. And the way I do it, get the envelope in a place where somewhere like there, and then now we want to get that sustain, and we want to modulate that by the LFO as well. And now we kind of have the same effect. Okay, so the next one's pretty easy. It's essentially local mode off. So if the Microfreak is to play a sequence and local mode is set to off on another channel with Serum open, so you're now able to play another VST or any other synthesizer at the same time as the Microfreak is playing its own sequence. The only thing is you won't be able to edit any of the sounds, it's locked. Essentially removes the keyboard and the ability to control any of the controls. So to turn it back on again, simply go to MIDI, local, switch it back on. Which might in turn trigger the other Serum, so you might need to turn that off. The next thing is removing the amplitude envelope from the filter envelope. I'm not a big fan of them being coupled together. I generally find that I want them to be different from each other, not doing exactly the same thing, even though it does work and sound good. I don't like the idea of being forced to use them together. You've got the LFO separate as well, so let's try doing that. So you'd be reduced to that. I don't know whether maybe on the Microfreak they meant you to do this or not. But this sounds way more natural to me. And you've still got the LFO as well. So the next thing I've noticed is that if you was to play the sequence, it doesn't have the spread, even though you can see the paraphonic button flashing. But that doesn't mean that the note you play won't be paraphonic. That's quite useful because you can send the MIDI out and you can obviously record the sound. And it's also quite inspirational because you've kind of got two things going off at once now. Okay, so another thing I've noticed is that if you was playing an arpeggio and then you was to press sequence, alright, it's pitched it down. Okay, so it doesn't record the spread, but that doesn't mean you can't go. And the last one was just using the speech synthesizer for bass, for dubstep. I kind of find it a little bit more useful than the wavetable synthesizer, which is a bit of a shame. But I'll show you what I mean. If I can find it. There we go, speech. Let's do it in it patch, it's easier. If you turn everything down. With this new unison, it kind of changes things a little bit, I think. You can get the point, and then I haven't really taken it this far myself yet. If you was to modulate that, or even better, do it with the cycling envelope. Just draw an envelope. I mean, that's pretty simple. I haven't really done a lot to that. You can spread it more. And that's the last one. Hopefully you found something on here at least useful, and hopefully I'll do more of these. Thanks. Okay, so the next one is how to get chords out of analog mode, a full chord, not just the third or fifth. So if we go to analog mode, and then tune, say a third or a fifth, and then we go to unison mode, and we tune the unison until we like it, to a ninth. Just check that. So it's quite nice for house chords, obviously.